You guys have obviously had a pretty good showing here in these scrimmage games, going into another one tonight. Where do you see this team now, a couple weeks, about a month actually, into training camp?
I think we're in a good spot, and we're pretty darn close to our numbers as well. So, guys have been competing, like I say, for a month, and the message here tonight, it still doesn't stop, right? Like we got to compete here against New York, but we also have to compete internally against ourselves, because I think we are a bit deeper this time around. And if you want to stay in the lineup, perform.
We talked a month ago about shaping culture, instilling culture from a day one perspective. How has that grown now in these first few weeks?
It's grown because, again, everybody understands what we're about now. Again, new guys are really, it's a month, but they're no longer new. They've been around these guys and been around ourselves for whatever it's been for the month, and guys are starting to buy in, realizing what we do here, and again, overall, it's been really good.
From a details perspective, what have you seen that you've liked? And maybe what are some areas that have room for improvement through the first couple of scrimmages?
There's always room for improvement, but the one thing, a couple things, I guess, between the restraining lines, for me personally, we've been really good there. We've been responsible, and there are moments, and we have to keep reminding it, and it's going to be an ongoing battle, but out the doors and then back to the doors, it's got to be 100-100. Right, so we can't take that shift off. Because we want to play 5-on-5 to the best of our ability. We want to push in transition, but especially backside, we want to play 5-on-5. So it's a commitment from the guys to get on and off the floor for each other. So that's been really good. Offensively, the ball's been really moving well, and it hasn't been, the two games that we've had. Smitty's had a couple of good ones where he's gotten 3, but it's a lot of secondary scoring. And if we can continue that, it's going to be hard for one to key on one guy here and just kind of move forward.
You always talk about it's defense by committee, but you look at some of these preseason rankings that come out, and Dan Coates at 9 overall in the NLL and Brad Gillies at 8 for transition. Just what does it mean when you realize that you start getting some more real guys and leaders in the defensive end and make it even more of a stronger presence?
It's nice to see your name there, but I don't really think at the end of the day it matters, because it's the belief in the group that we have, and what we see. It doesn't matter what the outside world sees. I think it's been that way here since day one. Like, we believe in what we're doing. We believe in the guys that are in this room every single time, and the guys that step on the floor to do a job for us. So what the outside world does and thinks, whatever.
How big has Dan Coates been with those younger defensemen, working with them through training camp? Obviously, kind of there's a vacancy right now with Paul Dawson having left, and he's a big alternate captain for this group.
Yeah, again, exactly right. Like, it's been really good. Again, Danny's always been vocal when it needs to be, and again, without Paulie being here, he's taken a bigger role. But at the same time, Reeser's stepped up and been a bigger voice. It's been the group there, and I'll say even Hutchie and Hartley. They've been a little more vocal with this group. Again, they see things behind them that we're trying to clean up and make sure we're good, right? So, again, Coates's been really good. He's that veteran guy that's been there, done that. But it's the entire group taking that next step, and I think that's what's more promising and good at this point for us.
You look at the offensive end, and it was a lot of lefties when you came into training camp, and a few of them have been cut out. How do you feel about that left-handed attack side, and also from the game of Fields and McConvey playing off each other a bit more as time goes on?
Yeah, again, it's really good. We got 5 guys that we really trust, and I think here at the end of the day, it's going to allow us to be. I think last year we weren't quite as deep there, so we were kind of hindered at what we can do offensively, where we're going to be strong right or strong left. Right now, looking on paper, we can do either, and we're going to trust the guys, and they're going to. They're going to battle for their spots, and I think that's what I said earlier, that internal competition here, that's got to remain for us, just to continue to push each other. It's going to be a long year, and if we can push each other from week in, week out, to make sure that if we're strong left, strong right on the front side, we're not going to matter.
You brought up Ryan Smith's ability through preseason and training camp games. Just how has he been kind of stepping into the role as that number one righty and a leadership role more too?
You know what? It's been really good, and again, Smitty is also a guy like in our meeting earlier today. He's vocally, he's communicating is what he sees, but at the same time, he backs up what he sees by doing it on floor, and that's what we're looking for from him, and it's been real good. And again, by committee is still what we're going to be. Fields is going to do what he's going to do. Smitty's going to take that next step, and that's what we need him to do year 3.
You look at these younger teams in different leagues across the U.S. and you see a focus to maybe stay even-keeled, not get too high, not get too low. How do you think this team takes the playoff experience of last year and just continuing to get older and utilizes that this year?
Yeah, hopefully that experience just makes us that little bit better in that end of things, right? And again, the season every year it's such a roller coaster, and there's so many emotions and so many ups and downs between games, even shift to shift. So I think we're hoping, and let's see what happens as the season progresses. But yeah, that experience should allow us to hopefully keep an even keel and again just continue on what's next.